welcome to the Pinksy Unscripted.
Yay! Oh my gosh, this feels so special to me.
Susie, we're doing it.
I know, I can't believe it. It's our very first podcast.
Yeah.
Neither one of us have ever done a podcast before. So if you are listening, you are so special to us because you're our first listeners
Yay!
to our first podcast. So you're like in it with us from the beginning.
Welcome.
Welcome to our new space.
I know, I'm obsessed.
It all came
really
together.
Pretty. It's really pretty.
We DIY'd our studio space. We'll save that for another time, probably.
We have a fun little story about me
there were injuries.
Burning my finger.
It's a labor of love.
Off. Yes, but look how beautiful it turned out.
I know.
I love it in here. It's fun. It's girly. It's pink.
We're here.
Yay. We've talked about this for how long, Susie? A year? About a year?
I would say.
Kind of played around with the idea with you.
Yeah.
And then
many coffees together at our favorite coffee shop of saying, Susie, we should start a podcast. And me saying, yes, absolutely. When are we going to do it?
And it was me. Really, it was me just kind of being like, well, in the future. Or I had mentioned starting in the new year. And Susie said, let's just start now. Like, let's just do this. And we are kind of crazy because we did it during the holiday season, like during the weeks leading up to Christmas. When it's the busiest time of the year.
And I didn't think about it at the time when we said, let's start it. We just had to pick a date because we knew we wanted to launch January 7th, which means we had to start everything early.
Yes.
But then at one point I took a step back and I was like, what are we doing? Like, it is Christmas.
We laughed about it. She was like, why are we doing this now? And I was like, I have no idea.
But it all came together. And here's the thing. If we didn't say yes now, there would have been an excuse later of why it wasn't a good time, right? Yes. There would have been a kid with a broken bone or a husband in a hospital, which happened to me a few months ago, or work would have gotten too busy. Something would have happened to keep us from doing it. And we're going to talk more about that later because we know that you are just like us, that there's always a reason.
Life is so busy and there's so many reasons to not do something.
Or to say, not now.
Oh, yes, I am guilty of that.
Like, let's put a pin in it. Yep. How many things are we going to put pins in?
I'm full of good ideas. I just don't always execute them. I don't. It's like, I'll get around to that. I'll get around to that. But Susie, there's no one else I'd rather do this with. Aww, truly, I am super excited to start this little adventure with you.
I know, because we can talk for hours.
We do.
But we won't today.
We won't. We're going to keep this short and sweet and simple. But
yes, but we're so glad you're here. So this is our studio. And we want to invite you to pull up a seat to the table. Yes. So be part of the table, part of the conversation with us.
Make a coffee, make a tea, get your favorite drink, and just,
join us for some girl talk. I kind of look at this like we're at a coffee shop, just hanging out, having coffee together.
100%.
With all of our besties.
That's how we wanted it to
hanging
feel.
Out.
Very just natural, like just hanging out. Yeah, hanging out with your girlfriends and having coffee and sharing life and just talking and encouraging one another. That's
Here we are.
Fun. Yay.
Welcome to it. Our first episode of the Pink Seat. So I think we need to introduce ourselves. So why don't you, and obviously we know each other, but for those of you that haven't had the opportunity to meet you yet.
I know, I'm excited. I hope we get a lot of new listeners that don't know us and you're going to get to know us. So for those of you who do know me and Susie, that's amazing. But for all of you that don't, my name is Sherry. I guess some of the things that stand out the most in my life is that I am a wife. I've been married to the love of my life for 20 years. We just celebrated our 20-year wedding anniversary.
You don't look old enough to have been married for 20 years.
Thank you. I love you.
That's right.
I have 4 kids. My oldest is 20. She's a college student. I have a 17-year-old daughter, a 14-year-old son, and an 11-year-old daughter. So 4 kids in total. All the ages, all the stages.
You've seen some things.
We have. Me and
You've
my
walked
husband have
through
seen
some
a lot.
things.
We're out of that like baby little kid phase, which honestly, it does feel good. I miss it, but it does feel good. We're kind of more into the young adult and teenager years, but it's been fun. It's been fun to watch my kids grow and to be their mom. And Yeah.
Someday we'll introduce our husbands on here.
Ooh,
maybe
I love that idea.
We could do an episode with the men in our lives.
Oh my goodness, that would be fun.
It would be fun.
We're gonna do that for sure. We could even bring our older daughters on at some point and have them talk a little bit. That would be fun.
Would be amazing. They can tell you who we really are as moms, so you can see.
Maybe scrap that idea, Susie.
But here's one of our priorities for the Pink Seat is that we are not pretending to be perfect because we're not.
No.
And so we want to lead with our imperfections to let you know that you aren't perfect. You aren't alone. We aren't perfect either, but we all have a seat at the table.
Absolutely.
And we're all part of this conversation. So you also work.
I do. So back in 2019, right before COVID hit, I started a cleaning business.
Yeah.
So I was a stay-at-home mom for 13 years.
Another thing you said yes to.
Another thing I said yes to. I was scared, but it happened very organically. I had prayed for years. I knew when my youngest daughter went to school, I wanted to do something, and I didn't know what, but I've always loved to clean. I am that crazy person. Like, it's honestly like a passion of mine to have like a clean space. So,
but what I love about you is you don't judge the people that don't share that passion.
Never. It doesn't bother me if your house is a mess. It just bothers me when mine is.
Yeah. So you love to clean.
But yes, I love to clean, have a little part-time business. I'm a solo cleaner and I have 20 of the most amazing clients in the whole world. I literally love each and every one of them. They've become like family over the years. So that's my little side hustle project. So that keeps me busy.
You're from Central New York.
I am. I'm born and raised here my whole life. I've never moved, never lived anywhere else but right here.
And all your family's here around you.
Here, my brother, my sister, their families, my parents. So it's a blessing. It's great to have them all around. My kids grew up with their cousins, so it's been great. Yeah, a little different from you, but
yeah, a little different. So I've been here in Central New York about 8 years now, but we've never lived close to family.
Yeah.
We've always lived in different states. From the moment I left my parents' home to go to college, and then life just takes you. Ended up moving to Canada. That's where I met my husband, had our first daughter there. So I have 3 kids, 3 daughters, and work full-time pastoring with my husband right here in Central New York. And it truly has been a great adventure. I have to tell you, all morning, I've had an old Stephen Curtis Chapman song stuck in my head. Did you ever listen to him as a teenager?
Yes. That's so funny that you said that because I'm like, I forgot all about him.
Yes. So in high school, I remember getting cassette tape. Would it have been a cassette tape? Maybe it was middle school, high school. For Christmas, getting Stephen Curtis Chapman and Carmen and listening to Stephen Curtis Chapman, The Great Adventure. And I have had This Is the Great Adventure stuck in my head all morning because we're going to be talking today about the Yes Adventure, and we'll dive more into that in a little bit. But it's been so fun. And Sherry, you were like my first friend.
I helped Susie paint her house, and I fell in love with Susie. I remember coming home and telling Adam, like, I just met one of my very best friends because we didn't stop talking for 4 hours. We painted your house for 4 hours straight.
Yes.
And literally.
Trim work.
Yes, trim work. And we didn't stop talking.
I was so nervous.
You were?
To invite you over, yes, because I wanted you to like me.
Oh my gosh, I liked you right away.
I felt like I was in school, and because I didn't know anybody when we moved here. And we bought this house, and my husband said, we're not moving in until all the painting is done.
I remember.
And I was desperate to move into this house because we were living in the church parsonage, and we were all suffering for Jesus. Really, in our own way. I mean, I would put my kids to bed and they would cry at night and be like, Mom, how much longer do we have to be here?
Goodness.
And God, blessed us with this house. We were so excited to get in. And he's like, we have to paint first.
It's a beautiful house, but it had glitter on the ceilings.
It still has glitter on the upstairs ceilings.
Isn't that funny? I've never seen a house with glitter in the ceilings.
Me either. So we splurged. I remember it cost $1,000 to have the first level painted.
Wow.
And we're like, well, we can't afford to do both levels,
right?
But we'll do the first level. And then we had so much painting. So it was my husband who was like, honey, you need to invite someone over to help you. And I remember inviting you.
And I brought Emily. She was little. She was only 3, and she played on her tablet. She was so good.
She was the perfect little angel.
And we had so much fun.
I know. And that is a true friend who will come, who doesn't even know you and will come and paint.
I think that was like the second time I ever had even talked to you. But I was like, I'm going to go do this because I really wanted to get to know you. And I'm so glad I did.
I haven't thought about that story in such a long time.
Yeah, but that's pretty much how we became friends.
Yeah. And here we are.
Her trim.
Here we are 8 years later.
Oh, who would have thought?
I love it.
I do too.
At the Pink Seat Unscripted.
Yay.
So another one of our hopes for this time is that it's not scripted.
No, right.
We're going to chat. We're going to talk. We're going to let the Holy Spirit lead us and invite you to join the conversation because we are real women who love Jesus, who are doing our best to follow him, who don't get it right a lot of the time, but believe that God is just wants to cheer you on in your journey of faith too. Yeah.
We can all be hot messes together. That's what I like to say.
I love it.
I just feel like a hot mess most of the time. We don't have it together, girls, okay?
You look like you have it together.
That's okay. I just look like it. It's just, it's
fake. All appearances.
It's a farce.
So what was your why for the podcast? Because we would say this all the time. Like, Susie, we need to start a podcast. We need to start a podcast. You know, what was your why?
It's funny, Susie. It's like I can't even pinpoint it except for I felt like God just kept pricking at my heart. Like I didn't even know what it was supposed to look like, but I've always loved to write. I have journals and journals full of just writing. Like anything from goals, personal goals that I have set to things that I feel like the Lord has spoken through me through when my kids were little, all the way up through their teenage years. I love to talk to other women. I love to encourage other women because I really just want other women to know whatever season that you find yourself in, you're not alone, right? You don't want to feel alone in that. And there were so many times, I think, in motherhood, especially when my kids were little, where you just feel alone.
So true.
Being a stay-at-home mom, the ins and the outs, you just feel like, does anyone get this? Like, is this all there is?
Right.
And as my kids have gotten older and I'm in a new season of life now, I just kept feeling like God was like, you know too much not to share it. And I'm not saying that I'm wise or anything like that. I'm just saying that God has spoken things and put in things on my heart that I want to encourage other women in.
Yeah. And I will say you are probably one of the most encouraging women that I know.
I love that.
I will tell you, there have been times, so our circle has kind of shifted and changed through the years, and we've had coffee with other ladies, other friends, and I have heard people confess some crazy things on our coffee dates together.
I know.
And I'm like just kind of trying to keep a poker face, and Sherry is like, you will find something positive and some way encouraging.
I do try.
Whereas I would be like, yeah, you can't do that, or you really shouldn't say that, or I'm thinking these things inside, but you just like, respond.
That's so interesting. Tell me more.
You respond with so much grace, but let me tell you what a blessing that's been to me, because then I know I can tell you my deepest, darkest things that I'm not telling anybody else, and that you are going to still love me and not secretly judge and condemn me.
And also you know, with friendship, especially, you know, close friends like this, it's so nice to know your secrets don't get shared. You know, I've told this to Susie before, especially in her ministry as being a pastor. And she has to be careful what she says. You know, you need a friend, you need a trusted friend that doesn't go air your dirty laundry around. Right. Like, you know, we can talk about things and it stays between us. So that's a blessing.
I have a friend who is a pastor's wife, and she would say, don't give people arrows to shoot at you. But that's because she was coming from a place of hurt.
Absolutely.
From a place that she's experienced that. And so when you share and confide those arrows, and the unfortunate truth is sometimes people do.
Absolutely.
Right? Shoot them at you later and bring them back to...
And that's part of the reason why women struggle with friendship in general. Because you lose your faith and your trust in other women. So
that would be a good podcast topic for the future.
I'm going to write it down.
But today we want to talk about saying yes to Jesus, because that's really why we're here. Because we decided to say yes.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, what would our lives look like without Jesus? Have you ever thought about that? Sometimes I think, like, only by the grace of God am I where I am today.
Yeah.
Like, if you didn't have the Lord in your life, my life would look completely different.
It's so true. So what are some of those like significant moments? Maybe even in the moment you said yes and you didn't realize the repercussions that were going to roll out from it. What are some of those big moments in your life that you said yes?
Well, I think obviously my marriage. Saying yes to your spouse is a huge, big deal.
Right.
It really is. Look at my life, right? I look at my children that I have. I would have none of this had I not said yes to my husband when he proposed all those years ago. So that's a pretty significant moment.
Yeah. 20, you said 20 years.
20 years in November it was.
We're not old enough to have done anything for 20 years.
That's so true. We really aren't. But yeah, so that's it. Yes. Yeah, starting my business, that was after being home, like I said, for 13 years with my babies. It was like, am I really going to do this? Am I really going to start a business? That was a bold moment for me. So that was something that, changed the course over the last 9 years of what I've done. So that was, saying yes to the Lord, obviously.
Yeah. And do you remember that moment?
I was young. So I grew up in the church. My mother was a worship leader. I've been in church my entire life. But I remember when I was probably 5 or 6, we had someone come to our church and he was leading, I almost want to say it was some type of puppet show. I remember specifically.
No, Sherry,
I'm serious.
That's so
and
cute.
He gave that, altar call for the kids. And I remember like flying up to the front of the church.
Wow.
Like I knew yep. This is for me. I'm giving my life to Christ. So, yeah.
I have a similar moment. I was older. I think I was around 12, and it was a special presentation at a church that we were visiting because my family didn't go to church, and my uncle had invited us. My Uncle John, if you're listening or any of your family is listening, right? And I remember feeling like my heart just racing at that moment where they asked, do you want to give your life to the Lord, to Jesus? And you had to stand up and walk to the front.
Yes.
And I felt like everyone was watching me, but it was such a, let me tell you guys, I am in my late 40s. There are not a lot of moments I remember. Right? Like, I don't remember a lot of things. So to remember this that happened when I was 12 years old.
That's pretty significant.
It was... It was so significant. It was so real. And of course, a life-changing moment. And another moment that pops into my mind is when I moved to Canada.
Oh, okay.
So I had said yes to move and take a position with a ministry at a church in Canada.
Nice.
And so I was moving from Indiana.
Okay.
I had never even been to Canada. I didn't know anybody.
Yeah.
The pastor was like a friend of a friend. So I was going to be moving with a strange girl I had never met before.
You are brave.
It was a moment. And I remember I wasn't going to have a car for a few weeks, and my parents drove me up. It was a really long story, but I remember it being the Sunday morning of my first Sunday starting on that church staff in winter time in Canada.
Oh my goodness.
We were staying at a hotel. My parents were there, and we were having breakfast at the hotel restaurant.
Yeah.
And it was this picturesque view of the window there. It overlooked an ice skating rink. The snow was falling, and I was panicking. I was like, I don't think I can do this. I think I was probably 21 at the time.
You were young.
And I was yes. And the pastor had asked me to share a few words that morning. It was a church of about 1,000 people. I was so intimidated.
I'm sweating just listening to Susie talk about this. I'm like, oh my goodness.
I know. And I remember thinking, I don't know if I can do it. I'm going to have to tell my parents to drive me back home. And this song came on or whatever playlist they had. It was I Hope You Dance.
Aww.
And it wasn't a Christian song, but just those lyrics, I really felt like God speak to me that what if you said yes? What if you went forward with this?
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, let's do it, and never looked back. And man, what a life-changing moment that was.
Susie, I love that.
So you just don't know what that yes will lead to.
Because so much lies on the other side of fear. It's really fear that keeps us trapped. Mm-hmm. Think of all of the things that you've said yes to, and it's like it can be scary saying yes to those things, but if you don't, that's where the growth happens. Growth happens when we say yes, when we get out of our comfort zone.
So true.
Yeah.
So there's a scripture in 2 Corinthians chapter 1. It says, for no matter how many promises God has made, they are yes in Christ. And I love the Message version. It says, whatever God has promised gets stamped with the yes of Jesus.
Oh, I love that.
In him, this is what we preach and pray, the great amen, God's yes and our yes together, gloriously evident. God affirms us, making a sure thing in Christ, putting his yes within us.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Isn't that amazing?
It is. I love that.
But I love it's his yes and our yes together that things change. Our lives change.
That's when he does the work in us. When we're willing to get out of our own way and to say, okay, Lord, use me. I'm going to step out in faith. I don't know what I'm doing, because let's admit we don't always know what we're doing.
Right.
We're like, it's like you're just out there kind of being like, well, okay, like, God, you're going to have to meet me here because I really don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
But that's when his greatest work can be accomplished in us.
So there's so many things that happen. Like your faith is getting built, your strength is coming, but because you aren't doing it in your own strength.
Right.
Very rarely does God ask us to do something that we can do in our own strength.
That's so true.
It's usually putting us in an uncomfortable position that we have to rely on him.
Right. Well,
and then he gets the glory.
Susie? I think there's a saying like, if he's called us, he'll equip us.
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
is true, because we don't feel like we know what we're doing. But if he's called you to do something, he's going to meet you there and he will equip you to do it.
It's kind of become a cheesy thing but it's because there's truth in it. Yeah. There's truth in it.
Yeah.
But it takes us taking that step of faith. Right. And like you said, getting outside of our comfort zone. But here's my thing. So we're at 2026. It's a brand new year. Yeah. We don't know what this year is going to hold, but I know one thing for sure. 1 year from now, I don't want to be the same person I am today.
No way. No way.
Right?
And that's so true. And I've written about that too. Just that, we want to challenge ourselves to be better than who we were even just yesterday. At least I do. You want to be a better wife. You want to be a better mother. You want to be a better friend or a better daughter. No matter what you're doing. Yeah. Why would you ever want to stay the same?
Right. And so we're going to talk about that next week.
Yay.
As we talk about setting our intentions.
I say yay a lot because I get so excited.
I know. For our second podcast, which our podcast will release every Wednesday. So you can expect a brand new one every single Wednesday. But next week, we'll be talking about how do we make those goals? How do we set our intentions? How do we make sure that when 2027 rolls around, we are not resetting the same goals that we made for ourselves this year?
Yes. Oh, do you ever
because
feel
how
like
many
you've
times
done that?
over and over?
Yes.
All the time.
I've done that all the time too. Every year it's like the same financial goals or health goals, things that I want to see accomplished, but I'm thinking like, oh yeah, we want to try new things. We want to step out of our comfort zone and try something new. So,
and a big part of that is saying yes right now to what God is asking you to do.
Absolutely.
So this is our yes, but saying yes is kind of a mindset too. It's kind of a mentality. So if we're going to say yes to the big moments, what if we practice saying yes to the little moments?
Those are important too. That's true. I have a funny little story I want to share real quick. I've always wanted to try skiing. It's just, you'd think living in central New York, that would be something I'd be really good at, but I didn't grow up skiing. But my son, who's 14, loves to ski.
So how did he start?
Just because his friends did it. Yeah. Okay. So they all wanted him to do it and he picked it up like immediately. I will say, I'm, a little biased, but he's a very talented skier. He does the jumps and the rails and he's like flipping around.
My daughter told me, Ivy was like, Mom, these boys, they're doing jumps and they're doing all these.
I would have broken bones. I would, not be surviving that.
Teenage boys are missing that part of their brain hasn't developed yet where they're
missing most of
they can't measure risk.
Right.
That part of that brain, the problem is that part of our brain is overdeveloped. We don't do anything new because we're too terrified we're going to break a hip.
We know the consequences. Yes.
But sometimes you have to say yes. So what did you say yes to?
So anyways, he really wanted me to go skiing with him. And I'd never gone in my entire life. I mean, I was like 41 years old and I was like, okay. I was terrified. I got all, strapped up with everything that I needed, the skis, the whole thing. And he said, okay, we can go down like the bunny hill. And I was fine with that. I was like, this is good. This is fine. I didn't fall. I went down the bunny hill. He said, okay, one more time, Mom. So we go down the bunny hill again. And he said, okay, it's time to get on the list.
Twice? You went down the bunny hill 2 times?
He let me do it twice. And his exact words were, Mom, you're ready.
Well, that was enough for him when he started.
Yes. And I said, what am I ready for? Like, I don't really understand what's going on. And he said, no, we're just going to a little more of an advanced hill.
Famous last words.
Friends, Susie, this was not an advanced hill. I was terrified. I must have tumbled down that trail, mountain, whatever you want to call it, at least 3 times. And I would get back up and I would go a little farther. And I guess in skiing, there's a term called pizza that you're supposed to kind of like make your skis go wide.
And French fries, yeah.
So at one point they were screaming.
He was
going,
pizza.
Mom, pizza. And I just kept saying, I am pizzaing. It's not working. But all that to say,
I love it.
guys, it was fun. And I really was super proud of myself when it was all over because I was like, I did it.
Yeah.
You know, and I only went down I think I went down one more time and I was like, you know what? I got to take a break. I don't know. My adrenaline was like through the roof and I was like, I'm done. But hey, I tried it. I did it.
Sherry, I'm so proud of you.
What about you? Do you have any like little yeses that you've said?
So I did. It wasn't as dangerous as skiing, but over the summer we took a family trip when we were taking my Adeline, my oldest, to college. Yeah. And in Chicago, there's an ice skating trail at Maggie Daley Park. And we lived near Chicago for a number of years. We love the city. So we wanted to spend a couple days there. And during the winter, it's an ice skating ribbon. Oh. So it's a trail that goes through. It's not a rink. Such a cool idea.
That's
I've
super
never
fun.
been there in the winter. But in the summer, it is a roller skating trail, or some kids had like scooters. They were going on scooters.
How fun.
So I'm like, let's go rollerblading. Well, I thought it was all roller skating because I grew up in the 80s where roller skating was
that was all the rage. Yeah, that's what we did.
Right? Mm-hmm. Every weekend. Yes. My whole family, we went roller skating. I mean, we would do all the games and the competitions and like the fun little things. Yeah. But they didn't have roller skates. They only had roller blades, which I didn't think I could do.
Have you ever done rollerblading? Was
no,
this a first?
No. But I didn't want to miss out on the opportunity to do something as a family with my kids.
Yes.
So I will say I was not my best self because I was so stressed and worried that I was gonna.
Yeah.
So I was telling my family, like, don't talk to me. No one talk to me. No one touch me. I'm focusing. I was wearing a skirt.
Oh my goodness.
They didn't have knee pads. Like, I would have rented every pad they had.
She could have wrapped herself in bubble wrap. Like,
yes, but they didn't have any of that. Okay. So, but I did it. I didn't fall. I actually really enjoyed it.
Hey.
So here's our challenge.
I love that.
We want you to practice saying yes.
Absolutely. And it could be little things. It doesn't have to be rollerblading or skiing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it could be having
anything. Yeah. Here's one thing that I've been trying to get better at is saying yes to Mike when he wants to do something that I might not necessarily be in the mood to do. Now, just little. I'm not talking about sex. That's a whole nother topic, which we will talk about.
I'm excited for that topic.
Yeah, at some point.
We're going to get into that.
But I'm talking about the little moments. So, for instance, a couple weeks ago, he was like, hey, do you want to get in the hot tub with me? Well, it was 10 o'clock at night.
Oh, Susie's like, I want to go to bed.
I had my pajamas on. Yeah, I was kind of done. But I said, sure, I'll get in the hot tub. And you know what? We had a great time.
I was going to say, you were glad that you did it. Right?
Yeah, we had a good conversation. Yeah. And man, isn't that most of life?
Absolutely.
That you don't want to do it.
Well, because like I said, we get in our own way. It's really just us being like, no, I'm tired, or that requires effort. That requires work. I have stressed out like you would not believe, having like someone come over to my home.
Right.
Okay. It could be like, come for coffee. Well, that turns into, I need to deep clean my whole house. I need to make homemade scones. Right. I need to have 9 different kinds of coffee creamer.
Right. Why do we do that to ourselves?
Why do we complicate the most simplistic of things? So our challenge is to say yes. It could be something very, very simple. It could be go to coffee with a friend that you've wanted to meet up with.
Go to coffee. Have someone over. Get in the hot tub with your husband.
Read a book the phone call. Instead of watching a TV show. You could pick up a book that you've been wanting to read and it just sits there.
I am teaching myself to crochet this week for Christmas because a year ago I bought these little crochet kits and they just sat for a whole year. So I actually thought I was going to need Emily, her daughter, to come help me because I was stuck on something.
She would have loved to do that if you ever need her.
I still might need help. Mm-hmm. So say yes. what are some other things that we can say yes to? I'm just thinking through. It's the little things, right? That we just have to practice. It's kind of like that movie Yes Day. Yeah. Where the parents have to say yes to their kids. Yes. It's have the Nerf gun battle with your kid. Take your grandchild out for a donut. Yeah. It's do the things that maybe aren't the most convenient or make you the most comfortable, but they will impact someone's life. And here's the thing. The person's life they're going to impact the most is yours.
Oh, absolutely. When you try something new, when you say yes to something new, I mean, it
changes you.
It does. It changes you. It's a challenge that changes you.
I'm so excited. So I have an idea of something I want to say yes to this week, but I'm not gonna tell you what it is.
Oh, so she's gonna keep secrets from us.
I'm gonna report back. I'm gonna report back next week.
I can't wait to hear.
The pink seat practice for this week is to say yes to something. And when you do, we want to hear about it.
I would love to hear about it. You must comment. You must share. You must tell us all of the things because we're excited. We want to know. We want to know.
And I want to remind you, too, that we're not going for perfection.
Oh, my goodness, no.
That's the difference. We're just practicing. We're not going to get it right every time.
I know. For those of you who know who Lisa Turkhurst is, she has a whole thing where she talks about progress, not perfection.
Right.
And I love that. That always stuck with me because there's nothing perfect about our lives, and that's not who we want to represent. We're not perfect, but...
Absolutely. Yeah. So speaking of progress, we are making progress. We're wrapping up our very first podcast episode, and it would mean the world to us if before you close this out, you would just take a moment to hit subscribe, follow, like, and here's the other thing. If this message encouraged you in any way, if it made you feel a little less alone or a little more normal, would you do us a huge favor and just share it? Please. Share it with somebody you know.
Share it with your sister. Share it with your mom. Just share it.
Someone that maybe needs to know that they are not alone, that it's okay to not be perfect.
That's right. Just a little encouragement in their day, in their week.
Yeah.
Because you're not alone.
You're not alone. And we are going to say yes together. And I believe that as we do that, man, God is just going to work in and through us in amazing ways. Mm-hmm. Really, it's not just words. Right. We really believe that. We've seen that in our own lives, and that's what we want for you. And so to go along with that, I would love to give you a free 7-day devotional that will help you this week to practice saying yes. So if you want to receive that, you can just click the link in the show notes. And I'll make sure you get that as a digital free 7-day devotional because we want to encourage you and be with you every step of the way. So
and join us next week. We're excited. Join us back here next week.
Yes, wherever you're listening from, you belong here. You have a seat at the table, and we can't wait to see you again.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.